I never thought betrayal could taste like the stale smoke of a backroom deal in a Southside dive bar. But there I was, choking on it. My brother, Jamal, had sold my piano, the one Dad left me, the one that held every note of our fractured family symphony, for a stack of dirty 20s to fund his latest scam. And the kicker? He did it while I was trapped in his junky haze of a body. Swapped souls in some twisted experiment gone wrong at that shady biotech lab he dragged me to for easy money. He didn't know I'd already whispered the truth to the feds. My voice cracking over a burner phone from a pay booth on Halsted Street, before he even pocketed the cash. That call? It was my first act of war. A grenade lobbed into the heart of his empire of lies. But as I stared at my new reflection, his gaunt cheeks, his track-marked arms, I realized the real shock wasn't the swap. It was knowing I'd have to destroy him from the inside out, wearing his skin like a noose, and pray the world bought the controversial truth when it all unraveled, that I'd taken the fall for his crimes since we were kids, shielding him from juvie, from the cops, from the grave he deserved. File 1. The rain hammered Chicago like it had a personal grudge, turning the streets into rivers of regret. I huddled under the awning of that godforsaken pawn shop on 63rd, my brother's two big sneakers squelching in the puddles. Jamal's body felt like a rental car I'd wrecked on the first spin, clunky, unreliable, reeking of cheap cologne and cheaper regrets. My hands, his hands, trembled as I clutched the crumpled receipt from the sale. Sold. One Steinway upright. Condition fair. $800 cash. $800 for the heartbeat of my life. That piano wasn't just wood and strings. It was Dad's last echo. The keys I'd pounded out jazz riffs on after his funeral, turning grief into something fierce and alive. Jamal knew that. Hell, he'd sat shotgun to every lesson, mocking me for wasting time on that white girl noise, while he hustled corners for pocket change. But this was deeper than sibling rivalry. This was erasure. It started 6 months back, in the fluorescent hell of Neogen Labs on the edge of the loop. Jamal had this side gig, recruiting volunteers for experimental trials. Big pharma cash. No questions asked. Aaliyah. Cease. It's painless. Just a quick neural scan. In and out. $5,000 each. I should have known better. Our family's motto was survival, not trust. Mom OD'd when I was 12. Dad gunned down in a drive-by when I was 16. Jamal and I, we were the remnants. Him the charming snake. Me the one scrubbing bloodstains off the narrative to keep us afloat. I dropped out of community college to bus tables at Lou Mitchell's, pouring tips into his business ventures while dreaming of Juilliard scouts hearing my originals on open mic nights. The lab was a sterile trap. White coats, humming machines that looked like MRI porn for sci-fi nerds. They hooked us up side by side, electrodes on temples, for drips promising consciousness mapping. Jamal grinned the whole time, whispering, "This'll fix everything." Ali. Fix what? His gambling debts to the Polish bookies? His habit of dipping into my savings for blow? Or the secret he'd buried deeper than Dad's casket? The hit that killed our father? Yeah, that one. I'd taken the heat for it years ago, lying to the cops that I saw nothing, because Jamal swore it was self-defense. Arriba el dealer. A bad deal gone south. But whispers on the block said different, said Jamal pulled the trigger first. Over a kilo, he fenced wrong. The swap hit like a blackout drunk. 1 minute. I'm humming Coltrane in my head, feeling the familiar weight of my curves in that thrift store dress. Next, darkness. Then a jolt. like my soul got yanked through a straw. I woke up gasping in recovery. But the mirror showed Jamal's face, high cheekbones like mine, but hollowed out by years of bad choices. Eyes bloodshot from the procedural haze. He was across the room, in my body, stretching like he'd won the lottery. Whoa, Aaliyah, you gotta feel this. I got assets now. His leer made my stomach, turn. The docs called it a glitch.
Temporary, they said.
Neural feedback loop. Sign here for observation. Get your payout. But Jamal bolted with the checks, leaving me to navigate his life. Eviction notices from his Roach motel on the west side, texts from dealers demanding Jay's cut, and a voicemail from his baby mama cursing him out for missing child support. I played along at first, calling him on his flip phone. Jamal, what the fuck? Get back here. His voice, in my alto, laughed it off.
Chill, bro.
This is gold. You handle my mess. I'll handle yours. That piano? Sold it for startup cash. Biotech's the future. Dummy. Startup cash. For what? Turns out, he'd leveraged the trial data, stolen it. Actually, selling it to underground neurohackers on the dark web. Body swaps weren't glitches. They were the pitch. Rich assholes paying top dollar to jump into younger skins, dodging death or divorce. Jamal, in my body, was the poster girl now, Aaliyah Jones, 28, aspiring musician with no priors. Clean slate.
Me?
Stuck as Jamal Jones, 30, felon-adjacent hustler with a rap sheet longer than Lakeshore Drive. That night, after the pawn shop revelation, I didn't cry. Jamal's tear ducts were dried up anyway. Instead, I walked limped, really 3 miles to the precinct on Wentworth, the rain masking the shakes.
Detective Ruiz.
A no-bullshit Latina with a desk buried in cold cases eyed me like I was yesterday's lotto ticket. Jamal Jones.
What now?
Another beef with your sister's deadbeat ex. I leaned in, voice gravel from his chain smoking. It's about the swap. Neo-Gen. And Dad. Her eyebrows shot up. I'd met Ruiz before, back when I covered for Jamal on the drive-by. She smelled the lie then, but let it slide for family.
Now.
I spilled the lab, the glitch, the data theft. And the big one, the bullet that ended Isaiah Jones wasn't from a rival. It was Jamal, high on his own supply, paranoid after a double cross. I'd seen it from the fire escape, too scared to scream, too loyal to snitch. Took the witness stand, perjury hid instead. Per his pleas. He was protecting us. I'd lied, sealing his freedom. My silence. Ruiz tapped her pen, skeptical. Body swap? Sounds like sci-fi bullshit.
Jones.
You on something? I slid the lab discharge papers across, faked timestamps, but the neural logs were damning, showing crossover signatures. Test me.
Blood. Piss.
Whatever. This ain't Jamal talking. It's Aaliyah. She paused, then nodded to the text. 20 minutes later, the DNA matched, my essence in his shell, his and mine. Her face hardened.
Jesus.
If this holds, that's kidnapping, fraud, murder cover-up. Where's your sister now? Gone corporate. Posing as me at some high-rise gig. I didn't mention the piano yet. That was personal. A hook to reel him in. We built the case slow, under the radar. Ruiz looped in feds, FBI cyber unit, the ones chasing black market biotech. I fed them crumbs, Jamal's burner logs, tracing payouts to Cayman shells. But revenge isn't a straight shot, it's a jagged blade. Wearing his skin meant wearing his sins. I crashed at a safe house, dodging his crew, who thought Jamal had flipped. One night, a goon named Rico cornered me in an alley. Knife out. Where's the swap data?
G.
Boss lady says you holding out. Boss lady me. The original. I disarmed him with a move Dad taught us both, cracking his wrists clean. Left him moaning, but didn't call it in. Controversial? Hell yes. Part of me, the Jamal part bleeding through, enjoyed the snap. Meanwhile, Jamal thrived in my life. Social media glowed. Aaliyah Jones at jazz lounges. Schmoozing execs. Even a viral clip of her, me, belting an original on piano borrowed from some mark. My piano. The comments? Queen slaying. I wanted to vomit. But I played the long game. Posed as Jamal online, baiting him with nostalgia posts. Miss that old Steinway. Who's got it?
He bit.
Mang for my account. Sold it.
Bro.
Needed the dough. You cool?
Cool?
I was ice. That's when I contacted the buyer, a sleazy pawnbroker named Vic on the South Loop, known for fencing hot goods. Jamal Jones here. Want it back. Double the cash. He agreed. Meet at the shop. But before responding to Jamal's taunt, I'd already looped in Ruiz. Trap set. The meet was midnight. Fog rolling off the lake like ghosts from our past.
Big baita. Greasy smile.
Piano in the back lit by a single bulb. Jamal showed in my body. Curves hugged by a red dress that screamed try-hard seduction. Jamal? What the? Her eyes widened, clocking the Fed jackets stepping from shadows. Surprise.
Sis. Igrowlat.
Stepping forward. My voice, his voice, dripped venom. Or should I say, bro, you sold more than keys that night. You sold me. She laughed. High and brittle. My laugh twisted wrong. Aaliyah? In my skin? This is rich. Cops? For what? A piano? Ruiz cuffed her. Reading rights. But Jamal's eyes, my eyes, locked on mine. Calculating. You think this ends it?
I built something. Power.
You're just the fall guy. Like always. The arrest hit the wires quiet. Biotech fraud bust in Chicago, but the underbelly buzzed. Jamal lawyered up fast. Some silver-tongued shark from his dirty money. Bail hearing, she walked. My body strutting out in designer heels I'd never afford.
Me?
Back to the safe house. Piecing evidence. That's when the secrets cracked open. Digging through Jamal's stash, a duffel of flash drives under his mattress, I found the logs. Not just Dad's murder. Recorded shaky cam from his phone, Jamal firing wild,
Dad crumpling.
me frozen on the stairs. But worse, the swap wasn't a glitch. Jamal rigged it. Paid off a tech to invert the mappings, testing his product on Family First. Proof of concept, the notes read. And the betrayal? He'd framed me for smaller hits over years, petty thefts. A carjacking I took the plea for to keep him clean. I'd borne his sins like a cross, blind to the nails he hammered. Rage boiled. Dark and American as apple pie gone rotten, the kind that simmers in trailer parks and corner bars, where kin turned Judas for a shot at the dream. I decided then no more shielding. Controversial move 1. I leaked the drive footage to a podcaster. Chi-Town Confessions, anonymous drop. It aired viral. Was the Jones drive-by a setup? Comments exploded. Snitch. Hero. Family over everything? The city tore itself debating. Cops swarmed Jamal's tail. But she vanished. My face on milk cartons digital style. Hiding out in a motel off I-94. I stared at the ceiling. Jamal's fingers tracing phantom keys. The swap was fading. Doc said neural drift. Souls snapping back in weeks. But I wasn't waiting. I tracked her to a safe house in Evanston, ritzy suburb where biotech bros hid. Broken quiet, heart pounding his rhythm. There she was, in my skin, scrolling deals on a laptop. Aaliyah, she purred, not turning. Knew you'd come. We circled like alley cats, words sharper than claws.
Why?
Dad loved you. I covered every lie. She smirked, my lips curling wrong. Loved me? He saw the real me, weak, chasing highs. You, the golden girl.
Piano prodigy.
I wanted that shine. And the swap? Insurance. In your body. No one questions the hustler turning legit. In mine, just another thug. The fight was brutal. Intimate, fists in familiar flesh. But reversed. I pinned her, me, against the wall, choking back the urge to end it. Controversial decision, too. I didn't kill. Instead, I forced the reversal. Found the kit in her bag, emergency injector from the lab, black market fix. Jammed it in her neck, then mine. Agony ripped through, souls tearing free. When the blur cleared, I was back, curves, curls, calluses from keys. She gasped in her own body, gaunt and broken. But power plays don't die easy. She lunged for the laptop. Smashing it, evidence gone?
No.
I'd mirrored it to the cloud, fed to Ruiz pre-dawn. Sirens wailed as feds breached. Jamal cuffed again, snarling. You'll rot without me.
Ali.
We're blood.
Blood. Yeah.
Thicker than water. Thinner than lies. Dawn broke over Lake Michigan like a guilty conscience. All orange smears and false promises. I sat in the interrogation room at Federal Holding, back in my skin but feeling like a ghost haunting my own life. The mirror showed Aaliyah Jones, 5 feet 6 inches. Deep brown eyes ringed with exhaustion. Locks I'd chop later because they screamed before. But inside, scars from Jamal's habits lingered, phantom itches on arms that weren't mine anymore. A wariness that came from dodging knives in his world.
Ruiz slid me a styrofoam coffee.
Black as the hole in my chest. You did good.
Kid.
Charges stick. Conspiracy. Identity theft. Accessory to murder. That podcast a drop? Genius. Blew the lid. Her smile was tight. The kind cops save for survivors who bent rules.
Yeah.
Leaking was controversial. Vigilante justice in a city that ate whistleblowers for breakfast. Protests popped up outside the station. Free Jamal. Family unity versus justice for Isaiah. Pundits on WGN debated it like a prize fight. Was I hero or rat? Blood or badge? Jamal's trial loomed, but he wasn't done scheming. From lockup, he lawyered harder, some firm tied to Neogen execs. Whispering deals. Plea for time served, his shark argued at arraignment. Glitch was mutual. No intent. Bullshit. I testified, first week. Voice steady on the stand. He planned it. Rigged the machine to steal my life. Sold my piano like it was nothing. symbol of everything he envied. The jury, a mix of South Side folks and North Shore suits, shifted uneasy. Pianos seemed small amid murder raps. But I wove it in, betrayal's anatomy, from kid lies to soul theft. Flashback during prep. We'd grown up in Englewood, brownstone crumbling like our dreams. Jamal, 2 years older. The charmer, silver tongue got us free meals at Harold's Chicken. Girls at block parties.
Me?
The quiet storm. Fingers flying on keys Dad scavenged from a church auction. Play for me, baby girl, he'd say. Post-shift, from the steel mill, his hands too rough for ivories. Jamal mocked it. Ali, that's soft shit. Real money's in the streets. But he'd linger. Jealous.
Pa din klumse hooch till I tucked him.
Bonded us. That did, until the night of the deal. I was 15, spying from the stairs. Jamal, 17, twitchy on coke, meeting a supplier in our basement. Dad walked in, suspicious. Words escalated. You touch my boy, Isaiah. Supplier bolted. Dad turned. And Jamal, paranoid, pulling Dad's own .38, fired. One shot.
Gut.
Dad wheezed. Why?
So.
Jamal froze. Gun smoking. I ran down, screaming, but he shoved me back. Tell him it was the dealer.
Ali.
Please. I did. Cops bought it. Witnesses scarce. Jamal walked. Joined a crew. I buried Dad. Sold plasma for funeral flowers. Kept playing to drown the echo. Years layered more. Jamal's first bust. I claimed the stash. His assault charge? I alibied, saying I was the victim. Took community service. Lost my scholarship shot. Family first, he'd toast. Clinking bottles.
Sucker.
Trial day 3. Jamal took the stand in his body now. Gaunt suit hanging loose. He spun it masterful. Victim narrative flipped. Aaliyah's unstable. Jealous of my success. That leak? Her revenge porn on our pain. Gasps rippled. He teared up, crocodile style, detailing the glitch's terror, how I trapped him in lockup by posing as him. Jury ate it. The hustler reformed. Sister scorned. My lawyer objected. But judge, a white guy from the burbs, sustained, eyeing me like trouble. Crestfallen, I stormed out recess. Ruiz tailing. He's got pull. Neogen's bankrolling, hidden donors. Power's the real villain. American as it gets. Moneyed webs snaring the small fry. Controversial decision 3. I went rogue again. Hacked his visitor log via a Fed contact, shady. But Ruiz owed me. Visitor, Elena Voss. Neogen VP. Blonde ice queen with patents on neural tech. She greenlit the trials. Skimmed profits to Jamal's swaps. I tailed her to a gala at the Art Institute, black tie. Champagne flutes clinking like hollow laughs. In a borrowed gown from evidence lockup, irony. I crashed, flashing a fake invite. Voss held court by the Chagall. Schmoozing donors. Body autonomy's the future, she purred to a cluster. Imagine eternal youth. No regrets. I sidled up, mic'd from Ruiz's wire. Like stealing your sister's life? For $800 and a piano? Her eyes iced over. Who? Recognition hit. Jamal described me. You're the glitch girl. Security. But I pressed. Jamal's your mule. Dad's murder? Your cover for test subjects who disappear. Bluff. Half true. Logs hinted at disposals for failed swaps. She paled, whispering, "You have no proof." I smiled.
My real one.
Clouds forever.
Elena.
Feds raided Neogen Dawn next. Voss in cuffs. Media frenzy. Chicago biotech scandal. Soul-swapping empire crumbles. Jamal's plea evaporated. Jury flipped on day 5. Guilty on all conspiracy. Manslaughter upgrade to murder 2. Sentencing. 25 to life.
No parole.
Uplift?
Nah.
I walked out federal court. Paparazzi flashbulbs, blinding. Protesters chanting mixed. Justice. Traitor.
The piano?
Bought it back from Vic with trial restitution. Tuned it in my new apartment on the Gold Coast. Upgrade from tips and a victim fund grant. First notes? Dad's favorite. Round midnight. Fingers remembering. But darkness lingers. Jamal wrote from Statesville. You won.
Sis.
But blood calls blood. Chills. Was it threat or plea? I burned the letter. But sleep evades. Swaps leave echoes, his temper in my size. His cunning in my schemes. Therapy? A doc probes. Forgive? Controversial as hell. No. Forgiveness is for saints. Revenge is for survivors. Months blurred. Gigs at Green Mill. Originals charting local playlists. Aaliyah's Requiem, they called one, haunting riff on Betrayal's blues. Fans mobbed, mistaking scars for depth. One night, post-set, a fan slipped me a note. Your brother's asking. Says he has a secret that'll free him. Meet at the old spot. Old spot. Our Englewood stoop. Boarded now. Midnight. I went armed. Pepper spray. Ruiz's burner. Shadow detached, not Jamal.
Elena Voss.
Out on bail. Blonde hair wild. He sold you out again.
Aaliyah.
For a deal. The real glitch? You weren't first. Twist incoming.
Good punch style.
The stoop creaked under my heels like it remembered our kid fights. Jamal pinning me for the last Pop-Tart.
Looking till mom led. Now.
It sagged under Elena's confession. The air thick with diesel from passing semis on the Dan Ryan. She paced. Cigarette glowing like a fuse. Jamal wasn't the architect. He was the tool. Neogen's trials started years back. Military contracts. Black Ops.
Dad.
Isaiah? He was patient zero. My world tilted. Piano keys jumbling in my head. What? Voice a whisper. Wind snatching it. She exhaled smoke. Eyes darting like cornered prey. Your father signed up voluntary.
Post-mill layoff.
Desperate cash. We, the company, tested early neural transfers. For soldiers, jump bodies mid-battle. Evade death. Isaiah glitched hard. Soul fragmented. Echoes and offspring. She tapped ash. Casual as weather. DNA links it. You and Jamal? Carriers. That's why the swap stuck so easy. He knew. Dug the files after Dad's accident. Used it to blackmail me into the rig job. Blackmail. The word hung. Controversial as original sin. Dad's death wasn't just fratricide, it was corporate cleanup. Jamal pulled the trigger. Sure. But Voss's goons fed the paranoia. The gun, erasing a loose end who knew too much. I'd borne not one sin, but a syndicate's. Proof. I demanded. Hand inching for the spray. She pulled a thumb drive from her clutch. Cold metal. Heavier than fate. Everything.
Contracts. Logs.
Your father's consent form. He wanted the money for you kids' future. Jamal found it, twisted it. Sold the piano?
Distraction.
Real score was auctioning carrier data to the highest bidder. Oligarchs. Celebs chasing immortality. I snatched it. Heart thundering. Upload to Ruiz? Leak again? Decisions ward. Expose the beast. Risk becoming the villain who toppled an industry. Jobs lost. Innocence caught. Or bury it. Let Jamal rot alone. Dad's ghost appeased quiet. American dilemma. Justice or the machine? Elena leaned close. Breath minty over tobacco. Kill the story. I walk. We both do. Temptation slithered, new life. Clean slate. Gigs turning to tours. But her eyes? Jamal's gleam. Opportunistic. Controversial decision for. I called Ruiz right there. Speaker on. Got Voss. And the motherlode. Sirens converged.
Elena ziptied.
Sputtering deals. The drive cracked Neo-Gen wide. Congressional hearings. DOJ takedowns. Voss flipped for leniency. Naming brass senators. CEOs.
Jamal?
His trial reopened. Conspiracy federal. But the twist reversed everything in lockdown deposition. He claimed innocence total. Aaliyah set me up. She's the carrier queen. Dad's echoes made her the perfect host. She orchestrated the swap, testing her own power.
Lies.
But seeded doubt. Media spun. Sibling soul war. Who wore who? Public tore apart. Podcasts dissected our childhood pics. Psychics weighed in on karmic swaps. I became pariah hero. TED Talk invites clashed with death threats. You sold out blood for fame, one email read. Others. Aaliyah's the real American dream, rising from ashes. Climax hit sentencing redux. Jamal in orange. Chains rattling like bad percussion. He locked eyes across the room, brothers in arms.
Once.
Ali, the secret? Dad forgave me. In the end. Whispered to his lawyer. Leaked to press. Jury wavered. Judge pulled for mistrial. Rage surged. Controversial peak. I stormed the stand. Unbidden. Liar. You stole everything, his life.
Meaning.
But here's the truth. I release you. Not forgiveness. Freedom. Rotting your cage. Knowing I thrive without chains. Chaos. Bailiff yanked me. But words landed. Jury convicted full life. No parole. Jamal's face crumpled. Not defiance.
Defeat.
My win?
Pyrrhic.
Dad's form confirmed. Voluntary. Hopeful. He died chasing our shot. Unaware of the venom. Ending? Debatable as a Supreme Court split. I tour now. Requiem Platinum Indie. But stages feel hollow without his shadow mocking from wings. Sold the piano. Donated to a youth center in Englewood. Keys for kids like us. Happy? In notes. Yeah, crowds roar. Checks clear. Tragic? In quiet. When echoes whisper. Was the swap fate's joke? Binding us eternal? Last gig. Chicago Theater. Spotlight hot. I pause midriff. Ad-libbing a new line. Blood calls. But I answer solo. Applause thunders. But I see him in the wings, ghost or guilt. Twists echo. Maybe we swapped more than bodies. Souls scarred mutual. Revenge a mirror cracking both. Fade to blue. Lake calling home.